Okay, today good discussion on how each guna predominates. So what we need to understand here at this stage, so much of knowledge what we have gained is that there is no personality there. There is no person really sitting in the body. It's only the guna which is making things happen. So actually it is the five elements plus the consciousness plus the guna at work. It's nothing to do with a person sitting there. So our major problem in life is that I believe that I am the one who's seeing and hearing and tasting and touching and smelling and thinking and all that. So there is no I at all to see or hear or whatever it is. It is the guna which is making that happen. So that one we need to not only know it, that we need to experience it. It's not that every person is sattvic, it is not that every person is rajasic or tamasic, even though we call it as a person, it is at that time in the consciousness what is flowing. So if sattva is flowing in the consciousness, the person will be pure. If rajas is flowing in the consciousness, then the person will undertake a lot of activities. And if tamas is predominant or is flowing inside, then the person, so-called person, will be inert and he will or she will be more lethargic and not interested in anything and depression oriented and all that. It's not the person who goes into depression, even though we say the person is going into depression. But actually what is happening is that the consciousness is clouded by tamas. So there is heaviness, and when there is heaviness, the person is presenting something of indolence, of pramada, wherein this person doesn't know what he is doing or she is doing. When we say he and she, it again means that we are identifying that with that guna, not to do with the person. So on one side we have this English and Kannada and Sanskrit and Tamil and Malayalam and all of these languages just for communication, and we have he and she and this is mine and all that. But in reality it is only the guna. So this is most important to experience, not to know. Knowing is one part of it, but in every moment of our existence, when we say our existence, it is the consciousness existence in this body, so-called body. It is very important to know that everybody is consciousness and everyone is displaying the guna, not about anything else. So a person who has lot of projects on hand and would like to do many things, grow many things, is the consciousness wanting to achieve lot. Is not happy with whatever it is. It feels that there should be something which can be done. And that when happens is rajas. When the consciousness gets contented with all that it is getting through the five senses and is not hankering, meaning is not craving for those enjoyment, so-called enjoyment, then that guna at that time is sattva. And if somebody is literally lazy, not doing anything, meaning to say that he or she is totally lost in something what they are doing and they don't want to get beyond what they are doing, and they are procrastinating from whatever they are supposed to do, and always in a sleepy kind of mood, and when somebody sees them, feels them very depressed, what it means is that that person is indeed in tamas. So we can see this around us, including with us. So that is how we transact in this world. We watch the person with the body language. If the person is having very little amount of ego or no ego at all, then the person is in sattva most of the time. If the person is feeling very rich inside himself, proud feeling and feeling like an achievement and all of that predominantly, then the person is in rajas. If the person is having a feeling of letdown and sorrowful or jealous feeling or harsh feeling or whatever feeling that is coming, and then he doesn't want to do anything himself, but he wants somebody to do it for him, be it worldly things or be it spiritual thing, be it religious things and whatever it is. And he keeps on complaining. If for every given instance he complains the other person, and as per him everybody is up against him, so he has to protect himself, then the person, he or she, is in tamas predominantly. When I say these gunas, they are predominant gunas, they are not a single one. So in a tamasic person also there can be little bit of sattva, more of rajas, and too much of tamas. So all his actions are towards ignorance. So the light cannot penetrate at all. When we say light, light of knowledge and wisdom or whatever we want to call. So let's say a person is investing 30 lakhs in a property, and he had a 30 lakh with him, and somebody told him that why don't you buy this property, it is good. He relies completely on him, on that other person, and the market crashes and he is not making any money out of it. Now for his entire life that person will be cursing him, and that's what tamas can do with rajas, meaning the action was taken care by rajas, but the mind which is now in tamas finds a reason for its laziness, it passes down to somebody else. This person could have himself looked into all the risk associated with it and thought about it and all that, but then he says that you are an expert in this area and depending upon that I have put my money. So this person is lazy. So when you say lazy, it doesn't mean that he is physically lazy. His mind is indolent. It is not really charged up. After doing the decision, he wants somebody to take care of it. Just like I had one friend who approached me some weeks back, and I have another friend who does trading every day. Okay, and he has been making good amount of money, so that is rajas. And trading as such is a gambling thing, so it is goes against sattva, but that is how the tamasic mind would work, that what is immoral is treated as moral, because any act of gambling goes against sattva. But now let's forget about that, whether it's sattva or rajas or tamas. But this friend of mine who came asking for introduction of that other friend who is doing trading wanted to invest some money and then forget all about it, and he wants this friend of mine who is in trading to keep on telling him what to do. Should he sell his stock or should he do this or do that all the time? So what he is looking at is somebody guiding him. Like there is a company called Way to Wealth, and there are a lot of companies which have started based upon that, wherein they can keep on guiding the person of what he or she should be doing, of selling or whatever. So there is this tamas which works in that, because I don't want to do anything. If things doesn't work out well, I can safely pass the blame to somebody else, and that somebody else is the one who is supposed to guide me. So I can always take refuge under this non-guidance. The person did not guide me properly. It's not my problem that he didn't guide me, but he is supposed to have guided me. So I don't want to take any action. And the effort what I've taken is the rajas, and there is no sattva at all. At all in the sense that doesn't mean that it is absolutely zero. It is, but it doesn't do anything at all. So from verse 10 onwards, Krishna explains about how this three of them prevail. So sometime when sattva predominates, what happens? He says that sarva dvareshu dehesmin prakasha upajayate jnanam yada tadat vidyat vivriddhim sattvam iti uta. So there are 9 doorways in the body. From the 9 doors, the light of consciousness enters. Even though there is consciousness, it is enveloped by cloud. Now, all of a sudden, this person gets an insight, like the wow moment. Wow, I got this. Oh, it's so nice. It seems like you never knew it, and right now you are having it. So that is when the sattva predominates. And he is very happy. So this would have happened in our profession, whatever we are doing. Suddenly we get a decision or we make a decision that is so nice and it keeps us happy throughout the day. Or we have solved a problem or a mathematical problem or an algorithmic problem or whatever we have taken, we are able to code well or test well or do whatever we have, or the project we are able to steer to success by guiding the team, and the team is very happy with the manager and how it is done and the celebration, all of that. That is when the prakasha is there. Jnanam yada tadat vidyat. So the intelligence is shown up and the knowledge is there everywhere. Vivriddham sattvam iti uta. Then you need to understand that the vriddhi, that is what has got developed, is sattva. And that time the rajas and tamas will recede. Rajas will be there because it requires movement, but the tamas will totally almost evaporate, showing that the person is very sattvic. So what happens is that when the person is appreciated for whatever he is doing, if sattva still predominates, he will not take it on himself. If it is rajas, he feels proud impression. If it is tamas, he himself will say that it is because of me this team was doing very well. Okay. And when the team loses, he'll say that because of so and so person, it did not work. It's not because of me. So rajas moving into tamas will make such a comment. So now we come to the rajas state. Lobha pravrittihi arambaha karmana asamaha sprihaha rajaha etani jayante vivriddhe bharatarshabaha. So when this lobha, greed, pravrittihi, vritti is movement. So the first thing what happens here with all of us is we are all pure to begin with. So the business what we initially start, idea, is very pure. It has all purity of all giving. That is, I want to share information, I want to make it available, I don't think about patenting it and all of that initially. But as I start investing the time and effort in that, the greed sets in automatically. Greed starts to flow into it. So when the greed starts to flow, I will feel that why should I do it for free? See, I'm spending my energy, right? So there should be something I need to get out of it. So why don't I do it like a business model? Which makes sense. So people are willing to give. Even if they give me 500, 1,000 or 2,000 or whatever it is, I can charge by hour or by day or whatever method it can be. So I will do that. So there is an activity. Otherwise, what's the motivation of doing it? See, if everybody is going to come to me and ask and then seek information and go and use it and put their name, am I not losing my what I can say, my edge over, or my effort is really hardly noticed. And in fact, there are people who are writing papers and they're putting my name, their name, when the idea was given by me. So I should protect my image. So I should do something about it. So I should have a copyright, or they should pay me for that, and I can give you. I can give them whatever they require. If, let's say, I want an icon and for my software. So there are free icons and they're not looking good, but there are ones which I love to have. But then if I take it, it amounts to stealing. So now I have to buy it from someone. So that pravritti starts. And when it starts, it creates karma. Any rajas activity creates karma. Good karma, bad karma. It doesn't matter. It creates karma. Karmanam ashamaha sprihaha. And it creates restlessness for completing that project. So without restlessness, there cannot be any project at all. So when we say I have a project, it means I have taken over restlessness. Simple. So restlessness causes aggressive and irritability inside, because we have to do it against all odds, because I have promised that I will be able to deliver. And when I say I am able to deliver, it means that I am able to convince other minds about the delivery, which are also sattva, rajas and tamas combination. So on what basis did I say that? I don't know, but anyway, I have committed to it. Now that creates a lot of fear. So that fear causes agitation, and agitation causes anxiety. And when I have anxiety, restlessness, agitation, irritation, all those things, I need to know that I am in rajas, because that is the factor. And there is attachment to what I deliver, because I am delivering. So when I deliver, it is mine. You are using my product, but still it is mine. So that mine is going to be there. If that is there, he says it is rajaha etani jayante. Know that you are in rajas. Then he says that aprakashaha aprivrittihi cha pramada moha evacha tamasi etani jayante. So aprakashaha, that means now it's clouded by emotions, or clouded by pride, or clouded by whatever that I have developed. So I cannot discriminate between good and bad, or rather forget about good and bad. I cannot discriminate at all. Aprakashaha, because the 9 doors don't display any light. So if somebody were to guide me, it hardly falls into my ears, because I am not hearing. I don't care, because I feel that what I am doing is correct. Apravrittihi, so I stop doing which I was doing in rajas. Pramadaha, heedlessness. So I don't have any urgency any longer. I tend to be lazy, and my body is also lazy, and my mind is also lazy, and people can find it. And I am always lost somewhere. So if somebody is absent-minded, it's very clear that he is in tamas. So one of the key feature of tamasic people are they're absent-minded. They cannot be focusing on one thing at all. You require to tell them 3-4 times, and then if they remember, they remember, otherwise they don't remember anything at all. So they'll forget. So they have this forgetful nature. The forgetful nature is nothing but the tamasic attitude. And they're always in delusion. They believe that world is true. At any point in time, you ask them, is world true? And their answer is yes. What it means is that, do you have a wife? And he says, yes, obviously I have a wife. And if you ask the lady, do you have a husband? And if she is in moha, she will say, yes, so and so is my husband and I want to control him. And so and so is my wife, I want to control her. This controlling aspect is part of rajas tamas combination, and the intent to control is a tamasic ability. They don't do anything as control except for blaming each other. So when things are working, they will take the pride and prestige of doing it, and when things go wrong, they will safely pass it down to the other partner. If they are married, they pass it down. Think it's because of you this happened. Okay, because that I has to completely manifest, and delusion is required to manifest. And if somebody, when he is talking or she is talking, is adding I in everything he is talking, that is very clear this person is deluded individual and is in tamas. No matter what you speak to him or her, it's not going to make any sense of anything at all, because they are tamasic. So they will be waiting for opportunity to really pounce upon someone. So these people are narcissist in their tendencies. So there are a lot of men who are narcissist, and there are quite a bit of women also who are narcissist, but this disease affects men more than women. So there are people in my known circles, in my relation, who are narcissist, and they are because of tamas. If I talk to them, except for naming themselves for everything, they don't know anything else. And they expect people to do things for them. They will not do anything. So if things goes wrong, they will then pass it down to that person. And to share another example, I had my father himself in this category. Okay, so I've seen my father from a very close angle on how this attitude can develop, and especially after my out of body experience in 95, I was able to see how my father is spoiling himself, or how this being is spoiling itself in the samsara because of this tendency to boss around doing nothing. So if somebody is bossy character, doesn't do anything except for directing someone and just sitting wherever that person is sitting in the, doesn't mean that physically sitting, but mentally the person doesn't do anything, and he will find faults at any given instance, and the person is never satisfied. No matter what you deliver to that person, tamasic individual is never satisfied. Neither they will show you how it should be done. So they will not do both. They will never get satisfied, and they will not tell you, okay, now you tell me how you want it. And the answer, typical answer from a tamasic person is, you should have known this. Now, I don't know. If you say, or if I say I don't know, then the answer from the other side is, then what's the use of learning so much if you don't know? So then again I can ask that person that, okay, since you are an expert in this area, why don't you explain to me what you wanted me to do? For that, the person will never reply. He will find another fault wherein that gets covered. So narcissist attitude is a tamasic attitude. because delusion has to completely take over, and the delusion is I. When that happens, when what happens? When sattva happens, the light of knowledge or intelligence and the softness and the coolness of the individual and the very malleable character, very soft spoken, very nice voice, nice way of living, and very good mannered, or whatever those things are, including non-ego, will be shining on the sattvic. When rajas happens, the person becomes raga oriented, and that creates lobha. So one launches into new activities even before the old ones are completed, because he doesn't want to let go of it, meaning he becomes extremely competitive, he or she. They don't want any other person to survive. They want themselves to survive. And it is the craving for achievement is so dominant that they will consider anyone as their enemy. Whoever comes closer to them, they are their enemies. So they would like to do character assassination at any given instance, but they cannot do in rajas because there is movement. But when darkness comes, tamas comes, that is the time character assassination takes over. So the person becomes dark, he or she becomes inert. That means there is no response, there is heedlessness, there is narcissistic attitude, delusion, and ignorance is so much that if it goes beyond it, there is no response at all from that person. So this person now, when rajas starts flowing into tamas, he keeps on shouting at top of his voice. So he loses his cool at every given instance. So cool in the sense that the person get into anger, because tamas doesn't produce anger by itself, but the delusion in the person creates the rajasic tendency to have anger. And when there is anger followed by delusion attitude, it gets into a very depressed state of mind, wherein if anybody were to sit next to him, the person is pulled by that person's aura or energy or whatever. So if the team has more number of tamasic people, then the whole team will never perform, number one. Number two, there will be a lot of politics. Number three is that they keep on blaming each other. Number four is that anybody getting into that team will automatically, unless he knows what to do, he will also become tamasic. So that is what this states can be. But again, one thing we need to remember is there is no person there. It is just the guna playing out. Any questions between these three?
So guna is playing based on samskara, right?
Yes, guna is playing based upon the vasana, and the vasanas then create the necessary environment called as samskara, and that then creates karma.
Yeah. Now you give one example of father. So what I think I just want to understand, because it's there in everybody's family. New generation will always think that what old generation is doing is not correct, because there's opportunity for them to correct themselves to adjust to the new environment. But they do based on their vasana and all that. But being the next generation, we need to understand, and we should put our effort to have some adjustments with them, so that they will also change looking at us, right?
Yes, so if there is a sattvic person, that person will be more than interested to change. If it is a rajasic person, he will change, but he wants his name to be there all the time. If it is a tamasic person, he will become I totally. So he becomes completely devoid of everything. So you have to please him.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, this is called personality. What you are talking, the personality change will happen slowly. It will not happen suddenly. It will take time.
See, the personality is shaded by the environment and the situation what is presented. So this rajas, tamas, sattva starts to operate based upon the situation presented to the consciousness. It's not dependent on the person. There's no person there. It is only the situation.
Yeah, 1 minute. I need to understand that a little bit deeper.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, so when you have, see, I am talking about the personality. That's the easiest word which I can use it. Personality means we know that that person is helping nature, or that person is something like having his own agenda called I-ness, tamasic and all that. That we are able to make out when you discuss with them in the transaction way, not with the just discussions. Or also we can make out when that person is talking, when he is praising about himself a lot, then we understand he is more of rajasic or maybe tamasic, not sattvic. Sattvic people will be very, very neutral. They will not talk anything about that I-ness. They will try to only communicate the message, but they will not communicate the message using that I-ness. That is more or less clear. What I am trying to understand here is, through the spiritual journey, we are trying to become more sattvic only, right? A journey is only sattvic.
Yes.
So now see those people also, our elderly people, they have seen a lot of in their life, the ups and downs also is a maturity, and that maturity gives the moment towards sattvic. Especially elderly people, they have seen the samsara, and maximum time they have seen addressing samsara related issues. There is no person that is always happy like evergreen. Always you will have some death, birth, and ups and downs and all that. So that death, birth, ups and downs will also give you indication to move towards sattvic, right?
Okay, so let me.
Because that is experience.
Correct, I agree with you. So let me give you in a better, explain in a better way. So let's say there are some people like my uncles, let's say, okay, they have experienced more than what I've experienced. So even I'll take my father also. So he is more experienced in life. He has gone through many of the ups and downs and challenges and all of that. Okay. Now, if he is a sattvic person, let's say, meaning sattvic person means that he has sattva predominantly than over rajas and tamas. So when the rajas activity flows into sattva, what he does is that he will be neutrally giving information in terms of what is the present moment and condition of that other being, plus what he has done in the past when he was presented with this kind of situation and how one should deal with it. Let's say I'm studying my PUC, okay, and then I have this father, this being called as father, and this father has sattvic tendency. What he would do is he will knows exactly how one should take life, how one should invest in studies and why he should do it, plus his own experience of how he had done it. And he doesn't say that he did it. He will actually say it in a way which is so calming and pleasing that if I am that person, will literally make him as my role model. And that is how sattva predominates. Now let's come to rajasic tendency. Rajasic should happen only when the project has to be there. So for my father, I become one project in the sense that he wants to make sure that wherever he goes, he wants to show that how he has brought up his son, okay, and how he's guiding him or misguiding him or whatever it is I become his possession. Just like if I do with my son, I keep on projecting him that I am the person who guided him to take Ayurveda, otherwise he was of no use and this and that. It's very clear that I am Rajasic at this point in time. Okay, so that person takes everything like a project, because now I have taken the project, it has to become successful. So what is that I'm going to do with my son in this example is that I will not leave him unless he finishes his studies and starts earning and do all of that. Then I get him married with the person whom I want him to marry, and he has to then lead his life based upon what I am asking him to do, because everything becomes a project for me. This is Rajasic predominance. Now we come to the tamasic predominance. When tamas predominates, it becomes very funny. I will not guide this person called as my son if he comes and tells me that, look, dad, I did this. What do you say? Instead of praising him, I will admonish him for something which he had done earlier in the past. So I'll connect what mistake he had done in the past and literally make him feel that this what he has done is nothing. So the more I hurt him, the better I feel, because I'm not able to find that I'm hurting him. In fact, I feel that I'm helping him by doing that. So so there are some parents who feel that they should not be praising their children, because then they will not study or they will not come well, or those are tamasic tendencies. So it depends upon how this person who is having experience, like I am the father for my son, and I had a father to whom I was his son, and to my father, my grandfather was his father. Like that, if you were to go, every generation will have something to learn, but how it is explained shows that whether sattva is predominant in the person or rajas is predominant person and tamasic is predominant in the person. This is how we can look at it.
Yeah, see, tamasic creates dvesha with other person, isn't it?
No, tamasic doesn't really create dvesha in the other person. Tamasic makes the person feel totally deluded. So when things doesn't work out well, he will shout because he's literally in darkness. He doesn't know what next to be done. It's not about tamas creates dvesha. It is rajas which incites dvesha due to greed, but then tamasic person gets totally blocked. There is no light. That's the reason Krishna uses the word aprakasha. There is no light. So he cannot see anything, basically.
Then when that dvesha comes, see, when two people are discussing, then the dvesha will start slowly coming out
Dvesha
during
comes,
that discussion.
Yeah. Dvesha comes when there is this rajas moving into tamas. There should be some movement, right?
Oh.
So see, the rajas can move into sattva, rajas can move into tamas. There's nothing called pure sattva, pure rajas, pure tamas. It is only the predominance, not the pure sattva you cannot find. If you find pure sattva, then the person is dead. Then there is no further living. You are done. You are literally packed your
But only with the sattva, can you do the transaction?
No. Thing is like this. But with sattva, more sattva, you will be peaceful. With rajas,
so that individual, the person who is having sattva will be peaceful, correct?
Yes, he will be peaceful. Looking at him being peaceful, people will get attracted to him.
Correct.
Okay, why? It doesn't mean that there is no tamas and rajas in that person. It is there, but it is so low that it cannot do any damage to him. So, and hence there is no karma.
I was trying to understand in our office environment. Yes. When two sattvic people together, whether project will go smoothly?
Absolutely. It will.
And when you have sattvic and rajasic, what happens?
Sattvic and Rajasic person will be overpowering in terms of his decision making. So the person becomes very aggressive. But if the other person is Sattvic, he knows how to mellow his aggression. Okay.
Okay. See, the thing is, in a defense organization, there's a fight happens. In a project environment, there's a project manager because he takes a tough task and is trying to execute it. During that time, Sattvic will work. It has to be something Rajasic, right?
No. I think you are misunderstood the whole thing. Let's look at this.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to understand that.
Yes. See, it is like this. Let us say we four are there. Okay. Forget about. Let's take the office situation itself. We four are there. I am a consultant and you three are employees. So now you have hired me. Okay. Now let's play the game of sattva, rajas, and tamas between four of us. If all the four of us are sattva, predominant. Okay, I use the word predominant. It is not pure sattva. Predominant sattva. What we will be doing is, instead of arguing, we will bring out the problem and try to find a solution to the problem. Any questions here?
No.
Okay. So sattva is clear now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sattva is clear.
Clear. Now if we four are rajas, we would like to change the situation. So we have to somehow find a way of getting out of the situation. Let's say we four are on one project, and we'll take the Padma Shri's favorite topic, neural networks, and then we are supposed to be on that project. I don't know anything about neural network, whereas Padma Shri is a very go-to person for neural network, and you both are doing something with relation to helping out Padma Shri. Okay, so now I'm supposed to drive agile in this team, and you both are supposed to do something about it. So let's say these are our roles. Now if we four are rajasic, what really happens is that we have this competitive environment already set into our mind. That means I want to perform the best. So the greediness of growth is going to be there with all the four of us in different quantities. So now if everything is working fine, we pat each other, meaning whatever we are doing, if there is non-threatening environment, even though we are highly competitive, it works beautifully, because we can take more projects. So we are able to complete one project and deliver and take another one, and the quest of doing is so much that 24 hours also we are able to invest together. So we are very happy. But when something changes there, the competitive structure what we have in our mind turns itself into aggression oriented, and then there is agitation in the mind. So we want to be cutthroat. So we become very cutthroat people. We don't mind ruining each other also if there is a need. This is when rajas were to predominate. Now we come to tamas. When tamas predominate among four of us, number one, we are lazy. We don't want to do it. We want somebody to do it, but that is like there is this risk management. If we do, then there is something like you are taking an insurance. So you are passing the whole risk to that company or individual or whatever it is, right? So we find a TPC, third party consultant, or we find an organization who can shoulder the problem because we don't have the ability to do it ourselves, but we want it to be done by somebody else. So we'll find on those people who can really sit and do for us. And when problem comes in, we start blaming that company or that individual or something like that. So if four of us are tamasic, number one, the project will never take off because there is no other person, and we keep on finding opportunity to push it on to another person. Okay, number one. Number two is that we'll be finding ways and means to escape from that. It's not about solving, it's escape. I want to escape from that situation. But since I'm deluded, I don't know how to really do it. So if somebody is guiding me, I really don't take his guidance because I cannot see anything. I don't see a sense of why is he saying or why she is saying, and I will do what I'm continue to do, whatever I'm trying to do, and then expect it to change automatically or to work automatically. But I'm not going to change anything. So this attitude is tamasic. So if four of us are tamasic, nothing moves. Every day we come, we meet, we talk, but there is no way of communication except that we don't know how to deal with it. So we keep on finding somebody to pass the buck. If we are rajasic, we are able to do a lot of things, accomplish a lot of things, but the only problem is that we keep on feeding on it, meaning to say that I need more and more. Now when I get into tamasic mode, since it is blinded completely, the frustration what it creates, the depression tendency, makes me to have an outburst, which is part of rajas flowing into tamas. Because all the three will be flowing. The sattva will also be flowing, the rajas also will be flowing, and tamas also will be flowing. But tamas is predominant, so rajas sometimes flows and creates this disturbance, and then I blow my top. At that time I become rajasic, but I'm blinded, so I am still tamasic, rajasic. By chance, some light enters, then I understand what this person is trying to say at that moment, and that is light sattva moving into tamas. Sattva never moves into tamas. Sattva moves into rajas, and from rajas it moves into tamas, whereas the rajas will move into sattva as well as tamas. Did it clear your doubt?
Yeah, I got a clarification. If a person by default, if he's a rajasic, for example, at some point in time, is there a possibility that he'll become sattvic, and maybe after some time, depending on situation, tamasic also?
Yeah, this whole thing is situation oriented only. It's not that a person is permanently rajasic, permanently sattvic, and permanently tamasic. And that is what Krishna is saying in this chapter. He is saying that it is not that any person is like that. It is the predominance of it.
But the laziness is a sleeping stage is also called tamasic, right?
Yes.
For example, night time when you sleep.
Yes, that is required. That is the body tamas, because body is inert, so it shows tamasic. So when a tamasic person sleeps, he is totally out of this world. He doesn't know what happened. If it is a rajasic person, then he will never sleep. So we call it as insomnia. If it is sattvic person, he is aware of why he is sleeping. So the awareness is sattva, movement is rajasic, non-movement and completely blinded is tamasic.
So what is required for our human beings? Is it a balanced three gunas, or?
So no, in a human life you cannot have the balance. If you become balanced, then you become Brahman. So the whole idea of this chapter is to transcend sattva, rajas, tamas. Then only you are at peace. Because
so with awareness you should do all this, right?
Yes.
With awareness.
Yes, with awareness. So he says from 14th verse onwards, what are the fruits of it? And all the three will give you fruits. Sattva gives fruit, rajas gives fruit, and tamas gives fruit, and that is called as karma. So when we say I have got karma shraya, that means that I have the prarabdha karma, of this sattva, rajas, tamas. The sanchita karma, what is happening right now as I speak, and the future karma that will get associated by me taking certain actions either in sattva, rajas, and tamas, all the three will give fruit of action.
Mhm. So the happiness comes when you get the phala. So sattvic you are doing something, rajasic similarly tamasic. When you do some actions, so when the phala comes, happiness comes because of your sattvic nature or it is
Yes.
something else.
No. All happiness is sattva.
That's
All worryful nature is rajas.
So happiness, peace, and all these things, which is coming through the sattvic only, right?
Yes.
Nothing to do with the other two.
No. See.
But
Yeah, go ahead.
when you are in a deep sleep, night time, so you are in a tamasic. But that is the time you have a lot of peace.
Yeah, why there is peace?
How to define that?
Yeah, why there is peace is that there is no sense object. So there is only Ishvara. There is nothing else. There is no Jiva.
Oh, you don't have. There is no vasana there.
There is no vasana. So and hence it is peaceful.
So even though when you have no this panchendriya connected, if you disconnect, irrespective of gunas, you will be always peace and happiness.
That is what we are trying to do with cutting out the five sense objects of sound as sound, taste as taste, touch as touch, because that will give you permanent happiness, which is transcending the gunas.
Yeah, and then sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic, is it within our control or
you as consciousness can control that? That is the whole idea, no?
So
yeah, go ahead.
So controlling means it's like how much quantity is required when you are doing some action, right? Sattvic, tamasic, and rajasic.
That. It's not like that. It is just, you will first understand that there is no person, right? That brings you to sattva. Then you will also understand that it is just a situation. There is no person there, and there is no person. It is only the situation. So you will stop reacting to the situation. So when you stop reacting to the situation, you are always in sattva, predominant sattva. And that helps you to transcend the gunas. This chapter is a real good chapter, actually.
Yeah. So mixing these three things, it's very important.
So it's not that you will not have the other two, but they will not be able to produce any fruits of action. And that is what is about killing the potentiality of the seed. So we have been speaking about this for a long period of time, that you can make the fertile ground non-fertile or infertile, wherein nothing can grow. Because if you bring in sattvic tendency, then the rajasic and tamasic will never be able to bear any fruit. So then you have to endure. So titiksha becomes your second nature.
So one is three gunas and then raga and dvesha. I'm trying to correlate all this.
Yeah, sure. Raga and dvesha
are fully understand.
Yeah, raga and dvesha is part of rajasic. But that the feeling of uneasy starts in raga, in rajas, and gets completely established in tamas, because you need to be blind. To blame somebody, you need to be blind. Otherwise, you cannot blame anyone. The passing of buck starts from rajas and gets completely established in tamas.
So generally we use the word, he is very sattvic, very good person. But all all sattvic are good.
All when you say goodness, it itself means sattvic. That's a better way to put it.
Okay, okay.
If there is some goodness in a person, it means that person is displaying sattvic state of mind.
Mm.
So let's say two people are fighting. Let us say two people are fighting, and this person enters, and he will try to stop the fight between these two people.
Correct.
The two people who were fighting are in rajasic tamas. That means they
Correct.
feel that somebody has really done something to them, and they both are fighting. And this guy who is sattvic, who enters into the scene, is able to diffuse the fight.
Yes.
Because he can see clearly what is the problem. So problem solving.
If you see the family,
yeah.
Once that marriage, after marriage, I'm talking about in a father, mother, and all together, that kind of family. Any girl enters, her guna of sattvic can bring the all family together.
Yes.
I have been observing this.
Yes.
Even though she is small, but that guna can overtake all other things.
Yes, that's correct. Whereas if the person is tamasic or rajasic, they will destroy the family.
That also happens, yes.
See, for a person to become a unit family, only one thing is required, that is tamas.
Yeah, the same situation in our project environment.
Yes.
If you have too many people with the tamasic, it's a problem. Rajasic is required because you have to do a lot of actions and aggressiveness and all that. But if you have a combination of sattvic and rajasic, it's fantastic.
Yes. You require more people who are sattvic and less people who are rajasic, and no person really predominantly tamasic.
Correct. There should not be anybody with tamasic. Right.
But if you have somebody,
it's completely stops. Yeah.
Yeah. If from TCA to ABC to whatever projects you are having, including cement and all that, if you were to really watch, you can really see who is tamasic, who is rajasic, and who is sattva.
Yes. Good, Vilas. I think I have to join next meeting at 9:30.
Okay. No worries. So
okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we didn't give any opportunity to Padmashri and Lata to speak. So tomorrow we'll start with that.
Tomorrow, both of them. I will listen because I am very interested to listen to this topic.
Yeah, sure. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay.
Bye. Bye.